Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Tom and welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new episode of Career Mode. And before we jump right into it, we're kicking it off with a big announcement. I can officially confirm I will be leaving Ferrari at the end of the season for Season 3 of Career Mode. Now, I'm going to make it very open for you guys. I'm going to cease development because I don't want the Ferrari to get any faster, so there could be a possible rival next season depending on what team I go to. But here's the kicker. I'm going to leave a straw poll down below. Every team is available for selection. You may be wondering how I'm going to pull this off. Then basically it's very simple. I'm going to restart my actual career mode, so that gives me all the teams available, and also it's going to reset the performance a bit because basically the R&D is getting to a point now where all the teams are sort of hitting their max development path, and I want to sort of freshen it up again and try and go for a different sort of approach. So all the teams will be available for selection down below, with the exception of Haas, Ferrari and also Manor because I'm doing a series with the Manor anyway on my channel, and Haas and Ferrari because those are the two teams that I previously have driven with in this career mode. So other than that, every single team will be available for selection, but hope you guys do look forward to that and get voting down below in the comments. But we're going to jump right into the thick of it here this race, and obviously after the events that happened last time out in Italy, I made a decision to leave Ferrari because I just didn't feel like it was the right move forward for the future for me, and I felt like it was time for a bit of change. And the rumour in the paddock is also that Kimi might be on his way out from Ferrari for Season 3 as well, so there could be a big change at Ferrari. But nevertheless, let's move into qualifying now and focus for the Singapore Grand Prix. So moving into Saturday evening for qualifying here, the night skies have fallen and it's one of the most beautiful circuits on the calendar in terms of its spectacle and just overall light show here at Singapore. And as you can see, we're currently in Q1 on the ultra soft tyre, getting down to business here, and they've actually get a great run through the final corner, and they're actually going to get a good enough lap there for P1 for the time being. But Singapore, very easy track to get a good lap hooked up, in my opinion. One of the easier tracks to drive on, and we get through quite comfortably into Q2. As you can see, there's no major issues whatsoever, and the car just working beautifully for me. And you can really notice when the car's underneath and it's working nicely, you really do reap the benefits of it. But as you can see, now moving into Q2, going for the super soft tyre here, so obviously going for a different race strategy, starting on the Red Bull super soft for tomorrow. And the question is the lap good enough? Yes, it is, and we come across the line for P4 there, and eventually that lap would be good enough for us to get through into the final part of qualifying. And this is when I was going to show my pace, because all weekend I've sort of kept the sandbags on a little bit because I've decided to not upgrade the Ferrari because I feel like the car is good enough, and I want to prove that around here especially. And as you can see, we're going to run the ball now for the entirety of this Q3 lap, and as you can see, coming out the final corner now, preparing ourselves for the braking point of turn 1, fourth gear corner. Make sure you kiss the apex, use as much curb as you want, try and be nice and aggressive. Then second gear, normally second gear, I prefer third for turn 3, and now cruise will get good traction out of that corner actually into turn 4, a swooping right hander in fourth gear. Just make sure you nick the apex just ever so slightly to get the nose in, then open up the DRS onto the back straight through the flat out turn 5 kink. And now waiting for turn 6, the heavy braking zone in third gear. We're currently 2.5 tenths up on Ricardo in the first sector. Now for a little swing, 90-degree right-hander in second gear. As you can see, just make sure you get the apex absolutely nailed, get on the power as we now go into turn 7, flicking it left in fourth gear. You could possibly use third, but I prefer fourth, as we now get another short squirt on the power into turn 8 and 9 and 10, sort of like a combination of the old Singapore Sing into the new, I believe it's the Mandela Bridge, I believe I'm not mistaken. And this is a nice little section of corners just flowing quite nicely all together, capping it off with the turn 13, or I believe turn 12 hairpin, going through the flat out 13 kink here into turn 14, one of the most crucial braking zones on the track. And we're currently a fair few tenths up on Daniel Ricciardo through the middle sector, as we get some great traction out of there. Now powering through into 15, which feeds into 16 on third gear. A little bit of a corner cut there as we go now through 17, trying to pick up the traction through here as we now approach 18 and 19, which go under the famous bridge here. Make sure you keep it out of the walls as we swing it right for 19, and now getting ready for turn 20 and 21, another right-left chicane. Plenty of chicanes at this track, and as we can see, trying to run it as close as you can to the wall as we now get ready for the final double apex, final corner. As we go through the final corner, open up the DRS wide open as we come across the line, and it's pole position for the Singapore Grand Prix. An absolutely fantastic qualifying lap, and it wasn't just a normal qualifying lap. We got pole, by almost a full second. So an absolutely dominant performance, very similar to what we had in Spa. So a very, very successful qualifying session there, and once again establishing the dominance, and once again sort of finding a bit of qualifying form like I did in Spa, and something that's been very rare for me this season to find. So as you can see, pole position for the race tomorrow, and I'm very looking forward to it. Hopefully we can try a nice smooth race. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into the Singapore Grand Prix. Okay, so here we are then, it's race day for Singapore, round 15 of the season. As you can see, this is the race strategy we're going for, obviously based off of qualifying. We qualified our Q2 lap on the super soft tyre, so obviously we're going to be starting the race on that particular tyre. And the aim is to try and go for one stop. There's not a lot of difference between the two strategies in regards to the more conservative or the more aggressive strategy, so maybe I'll switch up my strategy on the fly. We'll have to wait and see, but the main thing here is that the tyre wear is not a major factor, so it's just a question of trying to keep the tyres in. It will be a bit more of a tyre conserving race if I have to go for the one stop, so just have to keep that in mind. But the main question here is obviously fuel. We're going to go quite low on fuel, quite aggressive, because it's fairly simple to save fuel around here, and the only thing is now, hopefully I can get a good enough start to maintain the lead into the first corner, and then I can get on with my race. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into the Singapore Grand Prix for round 15 of the season. Right, here we go. 5 red lights in the beautiful circuit Singapore, and it's going to be lights out and away we go. Here we go, round 15 of the season, trying to pick up some good traction off the start line. Ricardo getting the measure of us here off the initial phase of the launch. Going to try and squeeze through. Ricardo closes the door on me actually quite nicely. Got cars up my inside, I've got to leave the room. I think it's Raikkonen who's making a move up my inside, trying to pick up some traction here on these super soft tyres. We've held on to P2 for the moment, but could be under threat on this back straight. We don't get a good exit, which we have done actually. We had a pretty good exit, so I think we'll be safe for now in terms of the gap that we have to the cars behind. But Ricardo taking the lead of the race there into turn 1. Ricardo fastest lap with the 1:44.7, and we're only 6/10 off those lap times, so that's not too shabby considering we're on a super soft tyre. So if we just keep this sort of pace up, we should be in good nick for the remainder of the race. These super soft tyres are starting to come alive here at Singapore. Fastest lap of the race, and we're starting to hunt down Ricardo as these ultra softs start to just hit a bit of a second phase now. We're putting away from Raikkonen, who's now the man in 3rd place. So the race is starting to come to me now a little bit on these super soft tyres, which definitely feel like a very, very solid race tyre. Ricardo peels off into the pit lane for his first stop of the race. Obviously the ultra softs are starting to give way as we come across the line. We set a fast lap of the race once again, so really following some solid pace at Singapore, and the Ferrari car really working well, just following on from where we left off yesterday in qualifying. So the car really working well here under the night skies and the bright lights of Singapore. Yet another fastest lap, keeping the tyres in good nick, and the pace is just overall absolutely incredible around here, and I'm really pleased with how the car's performing. Even though we've ceased R&D, the car is just doing a marvellous job under these lights, and I think at the moment it's hard to see anyone beating me in this race. Okay, so I'm going to come in for my one and only stop this race now. I'm going to come on to a set of soft tyres, and hopefully it'll be the one and only stop. I'm a little bit concerned because the tyres went off towards the end quite a bit quicker than I initially expected, and I was quite concerned with the tyre life. So hopefully these softs aren't as wear heavy as the super softs, especially towards the second half of the stint, and they hold together a little bit better all round. Otherwise I might be forced into an extra stop, but I've got a fresh set of ultra softs waiting for me, so if I do need them then I can always dip into reserves and go use them. So as you can see, we've got both the Red Bulls going past, and I believe Lance Stroll's also going to maybe pass us, but crucially Kimi's nowhere to be seen. However, Ricardo's a new championship leader, so he's the person we're battling with right now. So we're going to rejoin just ahead of Kimi, but Kimi's on an ultra soft and we're on a soft, so could be in trouble here in this first DRS zone if Kimi gets good traction, which I'm expecting he will as I'm on cold tyres. So let's just try and get some traction here. Not too shabby out there, but Raikkonen is well within DRS range here, and I think he's actually going to try and maybe go for a move here. I'm going to have to go defensive a little bit. He's still going to go for the move! No, not again. I can't believe this happened again. So for the second race in a row, me and Kimi have come together on the weekend that I've officially announced that I'm leaving Ferrari. This has happened. Wow. So yeah, I mean, let's just check this out from a replay and see what happened here on board with Kimi Raikkonen. Let's see what happens. Yeah, obviously got DRS open. I'm going defensive. I'm staying to the inside, but he just goes straight into the back of me. Like, I'm sorry, but you know, I don't think there's anything I can do there. I think he just goes straight into the back of me. I mean, as you can see, look, I'm already going to the left-hand side, and he's still committing to it, but he just completely, like, he had space anyway to go to the inside, and at this point, he had loads of space on the left-hand side, but it just hits me and smacks me straight into the wall. So, yeah, that's the end of the Singapore Grand Prix. And after a great run of results, we're back down to a big fat 0 again. So, That race is going perfectly as well. I literally just pitted and it was fresh tyres and I could have just cruised to the end. And now that's happened. Cheers, Kimi. Cheers, teammate.
Hello and welcome to Sky Sports News. Following the Singapore Grand Prix, breaking news in the F1 paddock today that Kimi Raikkonen will not be re-signed by Ferrari for the 2018 season. Of course, this follows the very controversial Singapore Grand Prix, which saw both Ferrari drivers crashing into one another mid-race. On the other side of the garage, when questioned, Tommy Martinez's PR agent simply put that he was lucky to not get away with any further penalties from the team within. Of course, he had already announced he was leaving the Scuderia after Monza, so the team couldn't really do any more. Arriva Bene also put Ferrari really couldn't realistically punish both drivers any more than they have done so right now, because both drivers are within that hunt for the Drivers' World Championship and Ferrari are gunning for the Constructors' title. But this news will have huge repercussions for the landscape of Formula 1, as now Ferrari are on the look to replace both their drivers for next season. Our Sky Sports sources indicate that they'll be looking to re-sign Sebastian Vettel back to the Scuderia, and then also be looking at the hot Italian prospect of Antonio Giovinazzi. As for the two outgoing drivers, there was already speculation obviously about Tommy Martinez and where he would end up for next season, but now we have to speculate about where Kimi Raikkonen will end up for the 2018 season.
So there we have it then. That is the Singapore Grand Prix, and it's a very, very disappointing race. And just when I was starting to get some momentum underneath me, a massive spanner's been thrown into the works here for the World Championship. And as you can see, for the race results, Daniel Ricciardo, Max Verstappen with a 1-2 for Red Bull Racing, and Kevin Magnussen, they're getting a great third place. But both the Red Bulls getting maximum points this race, and that's going to help them in the Constructors massively, because I believe they're going to lead the championship for the first time this season, or at least for the first time in as long as I can remember. But in terms of the Drivers' Championship, Ricciardo really extending that gap out now, and we're going to drop down to third place, unfortunately. But Ricciardo really doing a solid job here, and he's sort of a dark horse who's really got himself into the mix for the World Drivers' Championship. And also, like I said before, Red Bull take the lead in the Constructors. So a very disappointing race for myself, Ferrari, and also Kimi Raikkonen. And there's going to be serious questions in Maranello. Ferrari as a team in disarray, as I'm leaving the team at the end of the season. There's question marks over Kimi Raikkonen's future, and there's just a question of who's going to drive for them the next season and what's going to happen. So massive question marks over the red team. But as you can see, this has been the end of the video after a very, very short-lived race here at Singapore. And hopefully you guys still managed to enjoy the video, even though it's more relatively short than the other ones that I've made. But you know, sometimes you do have a bit of a pole race every now and again, and it also, you know, it makes you realise that I don't really script career mode anymore. So it sort of puts that myth to bed. But hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. And if you could subscribe to my channel, that would also be absolutely fantastic. And if you did miss any of the videos on the screen right now, then I do urge you to go check them out if you haven't done so already. But thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.